Now, when you write firewall policies, you're usually not going to be able to write a rule for every single website in the world. Most firewalls don't have a list of every single server that says which ones are allowed and which ones aren't allowed. That means that you're going to have some packets that aren't specified by your policy. So you might have a list of what's allowed, a list of what's not allowed. What if the website that the user is trying to contact, or the packet itself, is not on those lists? Then you have to default to something, and there are two possible options here. You could default allow, which means that if it's not on the list of what's not allowed, then default to allowing it. So in other words, have a list of bad websites, and if it's not on that list, just allow it by default. And if you notice that a website is bad, you can add it to that list so that it becomes denied by the firewall. That's one possible approach. The opposite approach is to default deny, which means you have a list of what is allowed, so keep a list of good websites. And if something is not on the good website list, then deny it by default. So you could either say everything that's not on the list is allowed, or everything that's not on the list is denied. And if you default deny, if there's some good website that you missed, for example, a user comes up to you and says, I want to access this website, but your firewall's blocking that website, but this website isn't malicious and I want to use it, then you as the operator could go and change the policy and add the user's requested website to the allow list. So those are your two possible approaches. Which one is best? Once again, it kind of depends on your threat model. And as we see all the time in this class, it's a trade-off between security and usability. So which one is best for usability? I would say default deny is probably better for, default allow is probably better for usability, because if something is not specified, then it's just allowed by default. By contrast, in the default deny policy, if you forget to specify something, a user's not going to be able to access that website. It gets default denied, and the user has to come to you and request that the website gets allowed, and users are going to complain. They're going to be upset. So from a usability perspective, there might be an argument for default allowing. By contrast, if security is what you care more about, maybe default deny is better. So think about what goes wrong in each of these approaches. In default deny, the worst that could happen is that a user comes up to you and complains that they want to access something, and you add it to the list. In the default allow policy, the worst that might happen is that you get hacked because you forgot to put a website on the deny list. So there could be an argument that default allow is worse for security, because if you miss something, you're going to get hacked. And in default deny, if you miss something, it will get blocked by default. But there's the opposite argument that default deny is worse for usability. So it's kind of up to you. Once again, there are trade-offs, and it's up to you for what you want to do in your network.